Ready to have a deeper conversation about body and soul, sacred leadership, and our collective evolution? Welcome to the Wise Body Ancient Soul podcast with me, your host, Charisse Sisou. I am so excited to introduce Joan Reid, who is an artist, a teacher, and an energy worker. She taught art and computers in high schools as well as college for over 45 years, retiring from teaching in public schools. She is still teaching and offering classes and workshops in her studio in the Shirt Factory in Glens Falls, New York. 30 years ago, Joan took a class in basic dowsing at the American Society of Dowsers annual convention, and since then, she's been an instructor and director of ASD's Basic School and Foundation course at our annual conventions. She was awarded the Teacher of the Year award and is a lifetime member of the American Society of Dowsers. Joan loves to help people become aware of their inner abilities, to trust their intuition, and to learn about energy work. As a clinical hypnotherapist, Reiki master and teacher, Hawaiian energetics practitioner, and dowser, she also maintains an office treating clients in those areas. Joan hosts and facilitates meditation gatherings at her studio and teaches classes in meditation, Hawaiian energetics, Reiki, dowsing, listening, and trusting the messages you get. Please welcome Joan Reid.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to have you. You bring together so many things that I have such a deep interest in. So, well, let's take a trip down memory lane. Take us back to that first class. Like what sparked you to try dowsing in the first place?
Well, a long time ago, probably more than 40 years ago, I was teaching art in public school, 900 kids a week, building a house, putting a husband through college, and my body fell apart. And I took a medical leave from teaching in public school and then started taking meditation classes, all kinds of alternative healing classes. I really wanted to be a doctor originally, because like my father, but they didn't encourage females back then. So I started taking things in meditation, biofeedback. There was a parapsychology course at the local college. I took that and found out I could do remote viewing. My meditation teacher became a really good friend of mine, and she used to go to the Dowsing convention and she would teach. Her name was Loretta Grabowski. She's not alive on this plane anymore, but we became really good friends and started learning all kinds of things together. Reiki. She would teach Huna and have a meditation class. So I started using Huna, which is a positive way of living and thinking that the Hawaiians just naturally do because it's part of their culture. So Huna, I took classes 14 years in Huna because I just loved being with the people that had like minds and wanted to meditate and wanted to be positive and got out of a victim mode and, all the type of things that got my attention as I was healing myself. So Loretta took me to the Dowsing convention, where she encouraged me to go. I took the basic school, and it was like stuff I already felt like I knew, but now I started having labels and a system. And the teachers were amazing. They were people that a lot of them were water well dowsers at the time. And this is around 93 or 4. And then it got my interest so much that I started using it for all kinds of things, just playing with dowsing, my pendulum, the L rods, body dowsing, deviceless dowsing. And I just kept going. They asked me to help teach it the second year. Lee Cacciadorian, an amazing dowser. She asked me if I would help teach. Bob Surd. I was with some of the elders, amazing people with wisdom about energy. and the ability to trust their intuition or their gut feelings or whatever you want to label it. And I started realizing how much the labels really didn't matter. And I took all kinds of things, shamanic classes, Reiki, Hawaiian energetics. I took so many different things. I became a clinical hypnotherapist because I was training my body to work again. And I healed myself. So then I started helping other people because I thought, people would say, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And I would show them what I did. I started teaching classes, meditation groups. So as I started teaching at the convention, it went into all different areas of my life. And I've been invited to different states to teach dowsing. I've actually gotten very into the Hawaiian energetics. So I go to Hawaii. I have been 16 times. And I just love the people that I meet, the people that know about energy and trust what they get because they practice and they believe. And then every year they keep asking me to come back. So I love it. And I'm so happy to help the people learn about themselves.
That's great. I love it. Well, and I love how just almost organic and easy I could just imagine that with all of your teaching skills that you bring to the table, that it just was such a natural fit.
Yeah, I was in public school for a long time, and I feel like that helped me when it comes to helping people learn where to start, because that's the biggest thing, and then where to go from there, and where to go from there. And a lot of it is learning how to know what your intention is, which is getting to know yourself. So a lot of the things I do kind of dovetail into each other.
Right, right, absolutely. Yeah, this is something that's come up in some of the other conversations, just that we can actually, if we are kind of coming in, like I like to think of it as like energetic clutter or static. It'll impact the answers that we're getting. But if you come in clear with that clear intent, then you get that clear answer. I love that.
And in the foundation class in the basic school of the American Society of Dowsers, we focus on making sure you have the intent. Well, first of all, making sure that you're centered and that you are ready to do what you want to do and have the intention of knowing what you want to do. And when you get centered like that, you have amazing abilities. Your energy just flows so much more evenly and clearly. And I know that Lee Barnes showed you that chart of the consciousness and what the
Yes.
dowsers and the meditators, how their different levels of consciousness are activated depending on what you're doing. And dowsers seem to have a lot more access to the different levels of consciousness at the same time. And that's scientific. So that I love the science part of it that proves it. I'm glad science is catching up.
Yeah. Yeah, that really worked out. It basically showed how different people, different practitioners, say like meditators, etc., would access different zones of consciousness, right? Like we talk about theta waves or something like that. And dowsers, it was like the whole all zones, all all waves, which lines up with this idea of connecting in with, all knowledge, really. You know what I mean? Like this is if you could tell me more about, your perception of or your understanding of where do the answers come from?
I believe we are energy beings. We're energy. Energy is everywhere. It never stops. And the energy, our energy, it's unlimited. So another thing we do in the basic school in the foundation class is show people their own energy systems. Like we have the physical energy, we have the etheric energy, you have the astral energy, you have the energy that goes out into your community, you have the energy that goes out past that into the state or the world and then out into the universe. There is no end to your energy. So thoughts are energy, words are energy, everything is energy. So when we ask the question in the right way, we get the answer that goes along with it. So asking the right question is so important. And that goes along with the intention so that you can direct it. It's sort of like, if you have a computer and you don't ask it what you really need or want, it won't come back to you. It doesn't guess.
Mm-hmm.
So when when we learn to say what we really mean and what's our truth, we can get the answers.
It put me in mind of, that asking those questions because I can already hear it, well, how do I know if I'm asking the right questions? And so, yeah, how would you answer that question?
Well, we teach the beginners, and I'm finding out the beginners aren't as much beginners now as they used to be 10 years ago or 20 years ago. People are learning a lot more about all of this stuff, thank goodness. But when you learn to put a question in the right way, you start feeling it. It's like an energy experience. When you ask a question that isn't clear, your dowsing won't be as clear. You'll get a no in the beginning when you're trying to center yourself. Most dowsers have some way of centering before they douse. And one of the ways that we encourage people, at least to start with until they figure out they like it or they want to do their own words, it's can I, may I, should I? And that is, can I douse right now? Sometimes it's we're not in the right place. We haven't had enough sleep. Maybe we're hungry, or sometimes the person dowsing is tired, is dehydrated, needs some kind of fuel, food. Um, and you have to make sure that before you douse that you're in the right place. So that's part of the can I, may I, should I. Part of it is kind of a permission thing. Is it appropriate for me to douse right now? You want to make sure that everything is, as the Hawaiians call it, pono, in harmony, in unity, or, that you want to make sure that there's nothing getting in the way of getting the true answer. So when I've asked questions and they're kind of a compounded question, you don't get the right answer. They don't know how to. You, when I say they, I'm talking about all the energies around me. And they can have labels. They can be angels, spirit guides, God, universal energy. Again, labels are only labels. It's the energy around us, our helpers. I call them my tribe. I have a tribe of helpers, and it's all connected to me. It's all my energy connecting to everybody else's energy, including yours, even though we're a distance apart. I can feel your energy. I can see your aura. Your energy is beautiful. So, I distracted myself. What was the question?
We were talking about the they. Please tell me more about my aura. No, I'm just kidding. I call them my wisdom council. Same because some are ancestors, some are guardian angels, some are, but it's like you say, the labels really are, they end up becoming irrelevant.
Well, if you think of everything as energy, it's all like, you know, intermingled. Um, just like our cell memory. People and the scientists know about cell memory. I mean, it's a combination of my father, my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, their great grandparents. Who knows exactly which teeny little particle is something to label? It's all together.
Right.
And when people talk about the Akashic records, it has to do with the energy of all time. And as you know, man made time, the label time.
Right. Right.
And we are multidimensional beings. We can be in all time.
Well, it's kind of one of those, as our brain is wrapping around that. I think to your point, it does dovetail in with the dowsing because, even when we're tapping that wisdom, that intelligence, whatever our name for it is, it does transcend time.
That's why you can distance dowse, map dowsing, remote viewing, finding missing people, all the different things that some people kind of roll their eyes at. They're real. People can do that as long as they don't get in their own way. And one of the things, back to the basic foundation class, one of the things I love doing is I have people that help me that are teachers also, like Leroy Bull and Tick Goodrow and Richard Roy. And we've set up a way of, okay, Leroy has a specialty. Richard has a specialty. I have a specialty, and Tick has a specialty. And so we take turns talking about the specialty or the things that we use dowsing the most for. And we throw out little tidbits like I just did with you. And then that gets these people that come as students to start thinking. I love to help people think. And then when they have a little piece of whatever that they really want to know more about, then they can go to the convention and listen to somebody else talk about just this a little bit more. Or they can do research when they get home and find out more about whatever it is that they heard. So that's what I like to do.
Tell me more about the different areas that each. So you listed off yourself and the three other instructors of the Dowsing Foundations course. What are those specialization areas?
Well, I just happen to have a book that we worked on that we hand out to the people who come to the class. And it has, first of all, we talk about the tools you can use, whether it's a Y rod, L rod, pendulum, bobber. And we show people how to get their responses for yes and no. And we make sure that they practice so that they know that they can get a yes, they can get a no, and that they can be consistent. So you have a pendulum, Charisse?
I do, of course.
So, well, let me just use this one because you can see it better.
Wowzers! Isn't like the ISIS one or something like that? Or yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
It's a nicest one. But when you figure out, like when I ask, show me my yes, mine goes like my head goes. It goes back and forth like this. And I always say thank you. And then, because I'm thanking myself and all my tribe. And then I say, please show me my no. And then it starts going sideways. And that's like my head goes like this. And I know a lot of people use circles or back and forth, but there's no one way. And I want to say this to you. If somebody says, this is the only way to do this, think in your head, no, it's not. Because you find what's right for you. And that's what we encourage in the basic school, in the foundation class. We help people learn how to get their yes and no, whether they're using a pendulum or the L rods or the bobber or whatever they're using. And then we also talk about deviceless dowsing. And we talk about map dowsing. And I made charts that talk about different modalities and different things. Like I have a blank chart, and we show people how to make their own charts for whatever it is that they want to do. And when I have a client that comes to me in my office, sometimes when they say, oh, I don't know, I know you do a lot of things, and what am I just need help or whatever. I will dowse, and I made a chart for myself that has modalities on it, like, oh, they need essential oils, or they need a Reiki treatment, or they need hypnotherapy, or they need a massage, or they need to learn how to meditate. Or I have this whole thing on this chart, and I dowse to see which one on the chart is for their highest good or for their benefit. So I like to use beneficial and non-beneficial. I don't like to use good and bad. Because as you know, a lot of times something that seems bad to somebody else, we really needed to learn a lesson. So it was beneficial for us. So we do a lot of talking about ways you can use dowsing. I have a chart here for essential oils. I have charts in my book that you can find out what's the next thing you need to do for your house. I mean, we have so many projects, probably if you're a homeowner. Oh, the roof, the basement, I need to paint, whatever it is. So you can't do everything. And you don't want to be overwhelmed. So take your pendulum and douse, what's the next thing to do for my house? And it points to the next thing. And then you learn to trust that. And then you can, okay, I got this part done. Now what's the next thing? Because life can be overwhelming if you let it.
Thanks for joining me on Wise Body, Ancient Soul. I hope it reminds you how magical and powerful you truly are. Kindly subscribe, rate, and review this podcast so more juicy light bringers like you can hear these transmissions. And if you're looking to connect more deeply with your body and soul's wisdom, visit CharisseSisou.com to learn how else we can play together. Here's to your joy and wild success, from my heart to yours. I love you. Take what you need and pass it on.